Hello, everyone. Welcome to your restorative practice. As we head to our mat today, kind of minimal props that we'll need, but because this is a restorative practice, I encourage you to have anything that's cozy to you, blankets, pillows, couch cushions, or as always, feel free to take this practice into your bed or onto a couch that has enough space for you to stretch out fully and completely. The one thing I would like you to have prop wise is something that's going to allow you to elevate your pelvis. We're going to work a little bit with the psoas muscle and nerve compartment within the hip. And we'll also do a little bit of work on the lateral hip, so the outside border of the hip. And that'll all kind of relate to the sciatic nerve and muscle compartment. And so, if you do have yoga blocks at home, you can use that. Just know that yoga blocks tend to be much more feedback, so a lot of sensation. And so that's a choice that you can make, but it can feel like a lot. Or you can always take a blanket, fold it up into a little square. That can function kind of like a block would, but it's a lot more forgiving and soft, and you can manipulate the height a lot easier. Same thing can be said for a couch cushion or pillows, right? So you want to have at least one of those props handy. Just set it off to the side, and we'll lay down on our backs to start. I'm just going to get a little bit closer to my heater because my feet are cold today. All right, so we'll start out laying down on our backs. Roll the shoulders down and underneath the back. Let's place the hands on the body. So you could take one hand to the belly and one hand to maybe the rib cage. And start to settle in here, making any adjustments that you need to make. Maybe you close the eyes. And start to notice the breath. We'll practice some diaphragmatic breathing today. So the diaphragm is this internal muscle that when you utilize it to breathe into the belly, you could also call this belly breathing. When you breathe fully into the belly, it's really good for massaging the internal organs, namely of the heart and the lungs. So if you start to think about breathing in to the hands, where the hands are the resting, can you get the belly to fill up into the hands? And then on your exhale, you can let everything soften back into the spine. So in this way, you're fully expanding and contracting the diaphragm, and you're also compressing and decompressing the heart and the lungs. It's like an internal vital organ massage. Let's take about 3 more breaths like this. Breathing into the hands, feel the belly expand, feel the rib cage expand. And on the breath out, you just let everything soften, let it go, let it rest. Good. Okay, so the first shape we're going to build from our back, we'll take the arms up and overhead. You can keep the elbows bent if you like and just kind of gently rest the arms overhead. You could grab your opposite forearms or your opposite wrist or even your opposite elbows if you like. Okay, so just kind of choose what feels best on your shoulders for you and your body. And then we're going to build this little half moon or banana-like shape by walking the heels off to the right. See if you can keep your hips, both hips grounded. So it really doesn't take much to start to feel that outer left hip, outer left waist, a little bit of the low back, feel some sensation. And so just a few inches heel bones off to the right. And then you can kind of wiggle the shoulders off to the right as well. So you're creating this big, huge sensation along the left lateral border of the body, outside of the body. Just keeping in mind that you want to keep your shoulders and your hips in the same plane. So we're not rotating, okay? We are keeping both shoulder blades on the mat, both hip bones, the pelvis flat on the mat to create that stretch along the outer left hip. And you might feel this internally too, like inner border of the hip, the inner hip flexor. That's your psoas muscle. Now, if you want to add on to this, you can, but do so wisely. Make a conscious choice and understand why you're choosing it. If it makes sense for you, you could take that right ankle, cross it on top of left ankle. For me, that feels much more stabilizing in my hips. You could also take left ankle on top of right, and that, to me, feels like it adds more sensation to the outer left hip stretch. A little bit more sensation for me in my low back. So you might try both of those ankle crossings and see which one works best for you. In our restorative practice, we're always looking to reduce stress in the body. So try not to add any extra tension when you're adding on. And if you are adding extra tension, maybe you back out a little bit. It's always okay to back out. We're going to spend a couple more minutes here, deepening back into your breath. Can you come back to that action of breathing into the diaphragm? You remember what that felt like with your hands there on the belly and the rib cage? See if you can come back to that sensation. Relax your jaw, soften your teeth here. Just about a minute more in this shape. About 3 more deep belly breaths. And so we're going to unpack this shape one step at a time. So if you crossed an ankle, uncross the ankles, bring both heel bones back to the floor. And then you can start to walk your heel bones back into the center of your mat. And then you can start to wiggle the shoulders back into the center of your mat and relax your arms. Take your hands back to the body. You can breathe into the hands right away. Diaphragmatic breathing, belly breath. Three breath rounds here in center to feel the residue of that shape. Feel the leftover sensation or the sensation that travels through the body as you release and return to neutral. And then we'll move to the second side. So arms will sweep overhead. You can bend the elbows a lot or a little. You can hold opposite wrists or forearms or even opposite elbows if you like. From here, we're going to start to walk the heel bones off to the left. And just pause and feel that sensation along the outer right hip, outer right waist, and those deep internal muscles and the sciatic nerve. You might feel sensation there too. If you don't feel anything there, it's okay. You're just kind of noticing where you feel sensation and then kind of choosing like, what's the intensity of that? Do you need to add on? Do you need to wiggle the shoulders over to the left a little bit? Do you need to walk the heel bones a little bit more to the left? And then what do you want to do with your ankles? Do you want to cross left ankle on top of right for more stabilization? Or do you want to cross right ankle on top of left for a little bit more outer hip, outer waist stretch? So just starting to fine tune this, refine, settle in. Can you stay relaxed? So noticing things like, am I grinding my teeth? Am I clenching my jaw? Can I relax my throat, my neck, my shoulders? If you're not able to do those things, there's too much tension in the body, so you should probably back out a little bit, take it one step out. As you settle into the stillness of your shape, come back to those big belly breaths. A couple more minutes here in this shape. Continue to deepen the breath. Continue to scan the body for those hidden places of tension. Where can you release a little bit more? Where can you soften? About 3 more breaths here. Start to unpack this one step at a time, starting with the ankles. If you have them crossed, uncross them. Just kind of let the body settle. And then you can start to walk the feet back in line with the pelvis, and then release the arms as you wiggle the shoulders back in line with the pelvis. So everything comes back to neutral. Hands to the belly and the rib cage. 3 deep breaths here into the belly. Take a moment to note the residue of the shape. Where do you feel sensation right now? And then in your own time, start to bend your knees and plant your feet. Press into the feet, lift your pelvis up just a little bit so that you can scoop your tailbone under, and then you release a little bit more of your low back down. So you're kind of lengthening out through that lumbar spine. So that shape we just did, banana pose or like a half moon or crescent moon on your back, it can be a lot on the low back. And if you need a little release for the lumbar spine, you can walk your feet wide on your mat and start to take your knees side to side. And so we're going to take the body into a similar sensation using a different setup. So this is where one of your props are going to come in handy. Today I'm going to use my folded blanket. So I'm pressing down into my feet, lifting my pelvis up like I would in bridge pose. And I'm going to slide that prop underneath the back of my pelvis. It's a little bit, you can see a little bit underneath my low back, but more towards that last 5 vertebrae of my pelvis, okay? So I'm feeling a nice solid base there. Pelvis is a little bit elevated. Now, for this one, I'm going to wiggle my shoulders off to the right, just like I did before. Wiggling shoulders off to the right. And I'm keeping my knees bent to start off. I'm going to see if I can reach my right hand down and just gently rest alongside my right ankle. And if it's comfortable, you can grip the ankle, but not if it's adding extra tension, and not if you're having to do something really weird with the legs to get the hand and the ankle to connect. So let that be soft if you're taking it. And if it's a reach and if it's like a struggle, then don't take it. You're just kind of letting your hand, your right hand, reach in the general direction of your right ankle with or without the bind. Left leg, you can let it extend forward and long. Left arm, you can sweep it up and overhead. And you can wiggle those shoulders off to the right as much as you'd like, as much as your body allows, to again feel that outer left hip, a little bit of sciatic nerve, a little bit of the muscle compartment surrounding that hip stretch. So you might feel this in the low back. You might feel this around the glutes. You might feel it towards the outer left hip. If you're not feeling it in any of those places, no big deal. Just let yourself settle into softness, settle into the support. I'll spend a few minutes here just resting, breathing into the belly, diaphragmatic breathing, deep belly breaths. Three more breaths in this shape. If you've got a hold of the right ankle, start to release that and then release your left arm. Wiggle the shoulders back in line with the pelvis. Bend the left knee, plant the left foot. So return to this neutral position with the pelvis elevated on your prop. Walk your feet wide. And then if you like, find stillness. Knees can knock in towards one another. Or if you want movement, your knees can sway side to side. Kind of just depends on you and your body, what you need. Deep belly breaths here. And let's return to center if you're moving, walking those feet back underneath the knees in line with the hips. First thing we're going to do is wiggle the shoulders off to the left so that your left hand's just a little bit closer to your left ankle. Okay, so you're wiggling shoulders off to the left. Shoulders are still flat on the mat. You're still lying on your back. Left hand might be able to reach down and gently catch a hold of that left ankle. And if it doesn't happen, it's okay, no big deal. Just let the hand reach down in that direction. And then we'll extend the right leg long, and the right arm can reach up and overhead, bicep kind of alongside the ear. If you have any more space for it, you can wiggle the shoulders a little bit more off to the left, as long as both shoulders are staying in contact with the floor. Deep belly breaths here. Just breathing into the sensations if they are present and letting go and releasing, even if sensation is kind of dull or not even really present. Allow yourself to just rest. Three more breath cycles on this side. And we'll start to release the ankle if we are holding on to it, releasing the right arm, wiggle the shoulders back in line with the pelvis, bend the right knee, plant that foot, return to that neutral starting position, find stillness or sway the knees side to side. Okay, so for this next shape, we're going to come into a supine twist, which just means we're going to stay on our back and find rotation. If when you twist, the shoulders lift off of the ground a lot, what I want you to do is remove the prop from the pelvis and take something underneath the back of the head like a blanket or a shallow pillow, not a thick pillow, but a shallow one. So I want you to support the back of your head. If when you twist, shoulders tend to lift a lot away from the ground. Okay, from here, you can really take any supine twist that you like. What I'm going to do today, and you can follow along with me if you like, is hug the left knee into the chest and extend the right leg long. I'm just going to give a little squeeze here, pull that knee into the chest. And then keeping my chest broad, my shoulder blades grounded on the mat, I'm going to pull that left knee across towards the right. So I'm rolling all the way onto my right hip. And I might rest my inner rest my inner left knee on a prop. If I have an extra one, I just happen to have a block right there, so that's handy. But you could pile pillows or blankets or couch cushion, or if she'll stay still for you underneath that inner left knee. Left arm can stretch off to the side. I like to take my right hand and rest it somewhere on my body. Might be that upper leg, might be the belly. I'll settle in here. Deep belly breaths. Soft jaw. Relax your throat. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Nice deep belly breaths here. Last 3 breath rounds. When you're ready, start to unwind, coming onto your back. Start to bend your knees and plant your feet. Just take a moment here and pause in this neutral position, hands to the belly and the rib cage. Breathing with the diaphragm. Good. And so if you were using a prop for the inner knee when you were twisting, you might set that prop off to the second side. Of course, feel free to take any variation of your twist here. You don't have to do what I'm doing, but just some sort of twist that feels good to you on your back. If you're coming along with me, I'm hugging my right knee in the chest. I'm extending my left leg long. I'm just giving that a little compression on the right side, a little squeeze of the thigh towards the belly, a little lengthening through my left leg. And then I'm going to pull my right knee across the body until I roll all the way onto my left hip. I'm setting that prop up underneath my inner right knee as I stretch my right arm off to the right. Stay grounded through that shoulder. And then left hand connect that to the body somewhere. Maybe it's the thigh or the belly. As much as you're able to, stay broad across the chest. Relax your shoulders. Soften your throat. Relax your jaw. Can you stick with your deep belly breaths here? It's a little bit harder to do when you're twisting because you're kind of compressing a little bit of your abdomen. But just to the best of your ability, breathe into the belly. Three breath cycles. Nice and slow, unwind, coming all the way onto your back. And for our Shavasana, it might feel nice to take something underneath the backs of the knees or even elevate the legs. If you have a chair or wall space close by, that might be nice for the low back. So we'll start to lengthen out in this neutral position. Take a 1-minute Shavasana, hands connect to the belly and rib cage, deep diaphragmatic breaths. Relax your shoulders, relax your throat. Release any tension in the jaw. Let the eyes sink heavy into their sockets for Shavasana. Please feel free to stay longer if you have the time. If you need to move on, begin to awaken fingertips and toes. Head might move side to side. Take your time to roll off to a side. And eventually make your way to an upright seat. In our upright seat, once more we'll connect the hands, this time to the belly and to the heart. Breathing into these places as you grow tall. And as you breathe out, rooting down through the sits bones, feel grounded in your spine, in your torso. 2 more breaths like that into the hands. Exhale, root down and ground. 1 more breath, growing tall through the spine. Whatever hand's on the belly, just bring it up, let it stack on top of the hand that's at the heart. Bowing the chin into the chest, taking a moment here to feel your heart beating. Acknowledging that you are alive and you are here and you are trying, and that is enough. With reverence and gratitude to our practice and to all of our teachers, past, present, future, to the teacher within your own heart. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Please take care of yourselves. Drink some good hydrating water, eat lots of good, nourishing, healthy foods, and come back again soon.